It all fits. It all fits because the story we're going to tell tonight goes deep into the Templars. And Templarism, you know, is the precursor to the Freemasonry we know today. And so the whole idea of the Templars going to the Temple Mount and then leaving with something and then
they
becoming...
dug underneath it, didn't they? And there were some tunnels and...
Yes, and they got something because next thing you know, every king, queen, or prince, potentate wants to become part of this lodge, part of this esoteric order.
Didn't they have a speaking head?
They did have a speaking head, the Baphomet, absolutely. And what we find is that maybe we're looking at high technology. Maybe that the ancient past that we think we know of isn't right. And that we're looking, like, as a study of ancient architecture, I know, you know, it's taught at university that Egypt's history runs backwards. We start with a high civilization with mathematics, building giant pyramids to precision that we won't even attempt today. Now, why did they have it at such precision? Most think because it's an engineered device. It's actually a geomancy,
it's a crystalline structure as well, isn't it?
Exactly.
Quartz is crystalline, or limestone is crystalline.
Exactly, exactly. And if you look into your computer, you'll find that it's the quartz crystal that gives you your speed. It's the subterranean gases, silicon and gold, all the same compartments, only so massive that we can't see the pyramids as a device.
And they used to have a gold top, didn't they?
That's right. Well, that was coming again in Y2K when the Masons tried to cap the pyramid with gold. But that was canceled after the jet crashed. We can get to that as well.
This is the Air Egypt jet.
Yes, yes. Flight 990, also known as Thutmose III.
This is the one that just went straight down.
Exactly.
Somebody turned the fuel pump off.
Well, that's what they actually classified it as a pilot suicide. This was before terrorists, and so therefore they claimed it was a pilot suicide because he called out a Muslim prayer as the jet went crashing into the ocean. Of course, with 33 Egyptian military and a scientist from Jet Propulsion's laboratory on board, heading to the Giza Plateau prior to the capping of the Great Pyramid with gold. Yes. Now, this is where it gets curious.
It's getting good already. We haven't got any texts yet. I don't think the texts are working.
Maybe speaking too fast. Well, here's the curious part. So we start to understand our ancient past a little bit more. We start to get deeper and deeper and realize that we have a high-tech civilization that we have no history of. We have the tales of Atlantis, Lemuria, and the ancient civilizations that mostly the Masons speak about. Well, when we find out that when they built the Ark of the Covenant, they then had to house it. They had to get rid of this thing, and so they, they brought this man, King Hiram of Tyre, to come and help King Solomon build the Solomon's Temple to house the Ark of the Covenant, to keep the Shekinah locked inside. Well, if you read Zechariah Sitchin in his 12th Planet or Genesis Revisited, there's one simple sentence where he states that King Hiram of Tyre was one of the people taken off planet. Now, there was Enoch, there was Ezekiel, but then also King Hiram of Tyre. Now, everyone wonders...
The Bible described it as something else. It didn't say off planet.
They never... No, yes. Well, the description is very incredible, and even an astrophysicist has designed Ezekiel's device and said it was aeronautically viable. So, depends on what you read in the Bible, right? You know, everyone has their own particular interpretations, and because we've been left without the knowledge of the ancient past, we can't put... But now, as we start to come, and Zechariah Sitchin steps forth and rewrites Genesis, then we say, wow, that might be genetic manipulation they're talking about when they created Adam and Eve.
And they talk about giants and
giants,
and
of
seeing
course.
Human women and mating with them and strange stuff like that.
Well, yes,
in the Bible.
absolutely. Genesis 6, you know, the giants, the sons of God came and had sex with the humans of Earth, or however you want to read that.
It does challenge those who believe the Bible is a literal document, doesn't it, rather?
Well, it all depends on what you get out of it. People interpret things into the Bible, so they read, you know, Lucifer, and they think that that means Satan. This is because they've been told this over and over and over again. But if you were one that just went into the Bible, opened it up, and looked for Lucifer, you would never find this description everyone told you. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
There is no connection to Lucifer and Satan in the Bible. That's all made up.
But there is a connection between Lucifer and the Illuminati, isn't there?
Absolutely. Well, so what I was trying to say is that everyone is curious who the man is. When you go into a Masonic ritual, you then perform a death and resurrection ritual as a man known as Hiram Abiff.
This is the thing with the noose around your neck.
Yes, exactly. And the oath. And you go through, you're blindfolded, you're brought around, you do a circambulation around the altar, and then you're brought down before the Bible, and you are then presented Venus after you're resurrected, which Venus, of course, if you look up in the dictionary, is Lucifer.
Yeah, because it's the brightest of the planets.
Yes, and was always known as Lucifer. But this strange man, Hiram Abiff, who you're playing to be, is the one that came and helped Hiram of Tyre build Solomon's temple. And so now there's potential extraterrestrial roots to Hiram Abiff, the man you are pretending to be, the very first master mason, the man who carried the secret word that the Masons now want.
So, I didn't know this. You're saying that the first Mason of the Freemasons, if you like, was actually not an Egyptian.
No.
Was a Hebrew.
He was a man that came along with King Hiram of Tyre.
Oh, so he was a Tyrian.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And therefore established and built this perfect, they electroplated the walls of King Solomon's temple and then left the Levites outside to guard it. Anyone who got anywhere near it died. And so this was a perfect housing center for this high technology that no one understood.
How do you know they electroplated the walls? That's some...
This is well known. There's the Baghdad battery.
I was going to say the Baghdad batteries. So they know that they had lead-acid batteries.
Absolutely.
In those days, because they found them, and they're thousands of years old.
And they had to contain this electromagnetic device, which they called the Shina.
So this was in some sort of Faraday cage then? Or
exactly, exactly. I mean, as we start to look at pyramids and structures on another level, Teotihuacan has a sheet of mica that's 300 feet long. We could not move that today without it breaking. It came from hundreds of miles away. And then it's under the floor. It's not even a decorative thing.
This is in where?
In Teotihuacan, in Mexico. It's not even a decoration.
I've not heard about this. This is part of what? Some temple complex?
It's the Pyramid of the Moon.
Oh, okay.
And it's under the floor, under the rocks, under the flooring. And what we use mica for today is to cool our computer components. So once you realize they're running off of gold, water, silicon, quartz crystals, we're looking at geomantic or earth magic or earth technology devices, however you want to take it. At one level it was all magic, but now we look at it as technology.
So we're talking about ancient technologies.
Yes.
And your take on those ancient technologies, assuming that that's correct, is that this was technology brought to Earth?
No. This is technology from the ancient civilization that was wiped out to a massive catastrophe.
These are the people who lived in Atlantis and Lemuria.
Exactly.
And these places.
Yes.
And where the flood comes from them.
Exactly.
In every culture, and certainly around the Mediterranean.
And many believe that it was Venus that came into the solar system and caused the catastrophe, and that was Lucifer, the great dark one that came and destroyed everything.
Why a dark one if it's so bright?
Well, yeah, that's why Lucifer was known as bright star, yes. But dark in that it destroyed life on planet Earth and most likely life on planet Mars.
But obviously life carried on. I mean, there were people who had the stories, who told the tales.
Absolutely. And many of them tell the tales of going underground, going subterranean, and coming up later after things had cleared. There were those, again, with Zechariah Sitchin's work, saying that, was like Noah, who was helped by the gods. But most, the Mayans, the Hopi, they all talk about coming up from underground. And then they also speak of subterranean reptilian beings along with that. So
were they saved then by aliens? And if they were saved by aliens, some people, then why wasn't the Venus, diverted?
Well, they weren't saved by aliens. Even Noah or Upanishads in the Mayan or the Babylonian were not supposed to survive. This was something that a rogue deity, if you will, did. Enki came along and allowed humanity to survive.
Enki?
Yes.
Oh, yes, I've heard about Enki. So, are we talking here about alien tribes, different races of aliens that are perhaps, I don't want to use the word middling because it could be that we're them, but they're involved in human society in some way, and they have different agendas.
Absolutely, yes. And we can start to see that, and it gets very curious. I don't know which picture.
Which one?
Okay.
Should we show that little film?
Well, let me show the device. Okay, so...
Is this the one you want to show?
We kind of covered that. We can skip that.
Okay.
because what's showing there are the ideas, the anomalies that we have, like Baalbek, Lebanon. There is a structure there with 300-ton stones.
They're addressed stones, aren't they?
Well, they're just blocked and perfectly placed.
Yeah.
The thing is, we can't move them. We have 2 cranes in the world that can lift some of the blocks used in the pyramids, which are much smaller, much smaller than the ones at Baalbek, Lebanon.
Yeah.
We can't touch the stones at Baalbek, Lebanon. But yet here the structure stands staring us in the face, and we have to explain it.
So these have been cut from the bedrock in quarries,
Yes.
dressed,
Yes.
and moved.